Welcome guys! A popular question I get is what monitor I use and if and why certain monitor specifications are important in PUBG. The monitor you choose is incredibly important when it comes to first-person shooters, including PUBG. This video is sponsored by Acer Predator, and I certainly would recommend the Acer Predator monitor I'm using, as it is by far the best monitor I have ever owned. However, this guide will be a general guide that you can use for selection of any monitor brand of your choosing. When choosing a monitor for PUBG, there are a few things to look for: refresh rate, resolution, response time, panel type, and monitor size. When it comes to refresh rate, there just cannot be any doubt. You need a high refresh rate monitor. A 60Hz monitor just won't cut it. With a high refresh rate, the game will feel infinitely more responsive and much smoother. Not only will it be more comfortable for your eyes, but aiming and spotting enemies will also be significantly easier. A high refresh rate will also reduce input lag, meaning the time between performing an action till that action is carried out in-game will be lower. This could be the time from you clicking your mouse till your weapon actually being fired in the game. Upgrading from 60Hz to 144Hz or more will be something you will never regret doing. In order to give you an idea of the difference, here's a side-by-side comparison of 60Hz versus 144Hz, recorded using a 240 FPS slow-motion camera. I'm not using V or G-Sync, as those technologies also give input lag, and for that reason you want to completely avoid them in fast-paced shooters. You can clearly see that the image to the right is far smoother, simply because a higher refresh rate will allow you to see more frames per second. The difference is also quite noticeable when it comes to moving targets. Notice how the vehicle on the 60Hz monitor has a very choppy movement, and the 144Hz monitor is much smoother. In order to experience a benefit from a high refresh rate monitor, you also need high FPS produced by your computer. Your computer simply needs to be powerful enough to show more than 60 frames per second in order to experience a difference. And the closer to 144 FPS, which is the limit in PUBG, the better. The most frequently used resolution is still 1920 by 1080, also known as 1080p or Full HD. And this is also the most widely used resolution amongst PUBG professionals. However, QHD monitors that will run at a resolution of 2560 by 1440 are gaining popularity, as you will get a much clearer image that not only looks better, but in a game like PUBG, you'll also have an easier time spotting enemies. To give you an idea of the difference, I recorded the game at both resolutions. And while this won't give you the full picture due to YouTube video compression, hopefully you'll get the idea. Because a higher resolution has more pixels, player models will be clearer and easier to see. Objects will be more detailed, which means that details will be easier to notice. And overall clarity and visual experience will simply be better. Running the game at 1440p will also require a lot from your computer. But if your computer can handle it, I would recommend running PUBG at this resolution. Remember though, that while it theoretically is better to use a higher resolution due to having a higher image clarity, resolution is also known to be highly preference-based. Some professionals will intentionally lower their resolution or play at odd resolutions simply because they like the feel better. The response time is also something to look for. The response time is how quickly your monitor can change a pixel from fully active to fully inactive and then back to fully active again. And that is why having a high response time will implement ghosting, which will be visible by a blur behind moving objects. Most gaming monitors have a response time between 1 ms to 4 ms, and this is also the range you should be looking for. I personally can't see a difference between 1 ms and 4 ms response time on a monitor, and I play with a 4 ms monitor, so my advice will simply be to go for a response time of maximum 4 ms. Regarding the panel type of a monitor, there will be 3 different types to choose from: TN, VA and IPS. A TN panel is cheapest to produce and will generally cost you less money, and it is also the panel with the lowest response time. However, a TN panel has bad viewing angles and color reproduction is not good, which makes it a no-go for a content creator like me. A VA panel typically has worse response times than TN and IPS, but will have beautifully deep blacks and great viewing angles. An IPS panel is the most expensive of the three, but it has beautiful colors and great viewing angles. My monitor is an IPS panel with 4 ms response time and up to 165 Hz refresh rate. Like I said, the best monitor I have ever owned. So if you can afford it, I'd recommend going for an IPS panel. Finally, we have monitor size. The preferred choice for professional players is a 24-inch monitor, and in my opinion, you shouldn't go above 27-inch. I'm using a 27-inch monitor as I am sitting a bit away from my monitor, and also because I do make videos and the bigger monitor size makes that so much easier for me. Ultra-wide monitors are generally not considered appropriate for first-person shooters. While they will look beautiful and certainly will give you a nice big field of view, they are often extremely tough on your system requirements, will require head movement to spot enemies, and has lower refresh rates and so on. But remember, you can't be a great player on any size monitor, but bigger is not always better. Now that's all I had for you guys in this video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll leave a link to the monitor I'm currently using in the description below, and I'll see you guys next time.